having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Porchlight Letters podcast. Jeepers, I don't know where my head's at today. I have been on the go since 3 a.m. this morning, so it's now 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So 11 hours I've been going nonstop. Sorry, what are we up to? Day 2511, the family black sheep. Now, I have to tell you, I am super excited. God, I'm shaking my desk again. I have this keyboard thing here, and when you move it, it does this. So if it's not an earthquake, it's just me. I'll let you know if it is an earthquake. But anyway, totally getting off. Like I said, I've been going for 11 hours straight, and my brain's all over the place. I've done help chats. I've just finished an intensive, an introduction to the intensive for owning groups on Facebook and how to monetize them and get leads out of them and all that sort of cool stuff. If you want to know more about it, just let me know and we'll get you all sorted up with a link. But today we're talking about the black sheep of the family. Yes, this is one of my favorite topics because they often have the most amazing stories. They're the stories that sort of go like, whoa, what? Really? And they can range from everything from criminal all the way through to the fact that they didn't follow the family traditions. They went and forged their own path. They didn't follow the way of the family. They took a step off that path and forged their own way. This is why I love these people, because not only, yes, you have the criminal element in there, so that some of the black sheep are there because of criminal elements, but then you also have those that are the entrepreneurs, the inventors. I'm just trying to think. Hang on, just trying to think of that they disappeared from the family. They were considered the black sheep, and they weren't talked about because they were off forging their own way. And this is one of the reasons I love these, because this is where you find your grandparent, your ancestor, your direct line ancestors may have been a black sheep in their family. So you may not. They are sometimes spoken about in whispers. I have black sheep in my people who are labeled as black sheep in our family, and I have no idea why. I'm still trying to figure it out, but nobody can tell me why. For whatever reason, they can't explain it to me. So, but then there are those that are definitely the black sheep, and I can find a whole slew of information about them. So most families have at least one. You may find 2 or 3. I've got 5, I think, that I've found so far. 2 I know the story, and 2 I know the backstories to, and actually 3 I know the backstories to. One of them is a direct descendant of mine. The other 2 are an offshoots. They're in the great uncle cousin lines. They're not on the main trunk line. But I do have a couple on the main trunk line, and they're very interesting people. And there's a lot of speculation around them, and we're still trying to dig, all these years later, we're still trying to dig through the information to find out what actually happened. Like, we've got this story that's been passed down, and now we're trying to prove it and figure it out. And yeah. There are some people in the family who know what the story is, and they've been told not to talk to my side of the family about it. So that makes it difficult when you've got one half the family knows, the other half doesn't, and they were told years ago to not share that information with us for whatever reason. I don't know. But most families have at least one. The relative who did not follow the expected path, these are the black sheeps. They're the ones that moved away, challenged family expectations, married someone and the family disapproved of, changed careers, again, and not just changed careers, but it could have been changed the careers so much that the family was sort of like, if you're doing that, we're not here. We're out. You're out. Disappeared for a time, or simply lived life on their own terms. Over the years, these individuals often become known as the family's black sheep. Sometimes they are spoken about in whispers. Sometimes they are barely mentioned at all. I found a cousin. My mum sent me, was it while I was still here? No, it was while I was still in the States. It was towards the end of last year, as I was getting ready to move over here, I think it was. No, a little bit for beginning of last year. I want to say it was beginning of last year or the end of the year before, when my mum sent me this newspaper article and goes, is this person related to us through this way? And I read this article and was horrified. I was horrified. And so I did the research on it and found out that, yes, they were related to us. Oh, my clock stopped. Sorry. This is just a little complete side piece. It's still ticking. The pendulum had stopped moving. This timepiece, it's all plastic, but this was something that was given to me by my grandmother when I was a teenager. I've absolutely loved this clock. This clock has traveled with me all around New Zealand from when she first gave it to me, over to the States for 29 years, and back to New Zealand again, and it still works. Is it telling the correct time? Yes, it's even telling the correct time, so we're good. I might need to check the battery on that later, but it's a really cool clock. I love having things around me that remind me of relatives and ancestors. Let's see, where are we up to? Yeah, and sometimes these stories disappear completely. So so my mum sent me this article about this person, and I had a look at it, and then went and did some digging and found out that yes, actually that was who she thought it was. And this is somebody in the family that nobody mentioned at all. And after reading this article, I can totally see why. I do have a DNA match to one of the people that were mentioned in the article, and have spoken with her, and her name didn't match up with anything, but when I asked her, she had changed her name so she was not associated with this person, which I totally get, totally understand, and everything else. So, but genealogy teaches us that there are usually two sides to every story. The person labeled as the black sheep may have been facing circumstances we know nothing about. They may have had difficult choices, taken risks others would not take, or simply seen the world differently from those around them. And some of them might have been a little screwed up in the head and went the criminal path. And I have one of my great-grand-uncle, half-uncles, because the only person we have in common is his mother is my second great-grandmother. And I have spoken about this guy before. And his father is not related. It was her second husband, because her first husband passed away and he was my great-grandfather. But her second husband, she had a child with him, and this was this guy, and he was horrible. He's actually in a book called The 10 Most Dangerous Men in Australia, with a question mark at the end of it. And he has each one has a whole chapter in there. And just reading it, I just sat there and just started reading and go, wow, this is really fascinating. Da, 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 da. Oh, what a horrible guy, blah, blah, blah. All these thoughts were running through my head. Then I got to the end of it and went, oh, crap, he's related to me. So there are some stories out there that you will find fascinating, and then you have to remind yourself that you may actually be related to that person if you are reading their story, and you forget the fact that you are related to that person. And you get to the end of it and you're sort of like, oh, crap, I'm related to them, blood related to them. Yeah, not as much blood as a normal grand-uncle, but I'm blood related to him. He's a half-uncle. So I think he's a great. Might be a 2. Oh, what is he? Hang on. I have to go check now to see what his actual... This is the cool part about Ancestry. You can go in there and you can go to your tree. And if you are the home person on the tree, he's a great-grand-uncle. There you go. He's my great-grand-uncle. I would have thought they had half in there, but they don't. That's interesting. They just have great-grand-uncle. Okay. Yeah, so you can get some interesting people in an Ancestry. And if you are the home person on Ancestry and the home person on your tree, everything that you see when you open somebody's profile, it will tell you the relationship that person has with you. Like it could be husband's first cousin. So because I got Brad's tree and with my tree, it's a massive tree. And I wish that Ancestry had this way that you could go, I want this section of the tree here to be created into its own tree. So I can have a master tree, and then I can have ones based on family and that sort of thing as well, on different families. So I can have the Brahms side and I can have the Eakin side, and just have them separated at one point, because it means that, it makes it difficult to give people access to a tree with over 10,000 people in it. So it would be nice to have, here's the Brahms tribe. You want to have access to it? Go for it. That sort of thing. And then I have the master one. But yes, so if anybody from Ancestry is listening, a huge thing that I know a lot of people would want is being able to split the tree into separate trees and have them, like if you turn around and say, from this person onwards, I want this side of the family only into its own tree. That would be awesome, because I didn't think about it at the time, and I should have done Brad's side of the tree different to my side of the tree. Yeah, that didn't happen. I've got it all on one massive tree. So to be able to actually split that tree in half, so you've got my side and I've got Brad's side as 2 separate trees, would be awesome. So there's my shout out to Ancestry for the day. But yeah, so black sheep, they sometimes have really cool stories. When we look beyond the label, we often discover a more complete and human story. There are some people in the family tree that I've been told are black sheep of the family. And when I've looked at their story and everything else, I'm like, why? Why? I just don't get it. Some I totally get, and others I'm still asking why, because I don't understand why. And nobody can really explain it to me. Many family black sheep were pioneers, entrepreneurs, adventurers, reformers, or people who refused to accept limitations placed on them. And this could be limitations by the class that they grew up in. Were they blue collar? Were they poor? Were they middle class? Were they high society? Some people had limitations set on them. The fact that they may have crossed that somebody from high society may have married somebody from middle class. Oh my gosh, was that frowned upon? But they did it anyway. So they became the black sheep of the family. Others struggled through hardships that were never fully understood by later generations. You've also got the criminal element in there. Every family member contributed something to the story of the family, even those who did not fit in with the family. It could have been that they thought themselves to be higher than what their family was, or even lower. They may have been middle class, but this person felt like they didn't really belong to the family. So they forged their own path. Perhaps especially those who did not fit in. Family history is not about documenting perfect people. It's about understanding real people. And sometimes the most interesting stories belong to the relatives who colored outside the lines. And yes, we have a lot of those in there. Every family has them. You may not have found out who they are yet, but they are there. So your task for today is to find a black sheep in your family, somebody who colored outside the lines of the living style at the time. It could be they did not want to go into the family business. They were interested in something else. It could be that they were entrepreneurial. They wanted their own business. They didn't want to work for anybody else. It could be that they married outside their class. Oh, that was a big no-no back then. Or had an affair. Those are big no-nos too. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. So your task for today is to go find a black sheep of the family and see what you can find out about their story. What is it about their story that labeled them as a black sheep in the family? That's your task for today. I am out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and I will be on at some point tomorrow. I don't know when. Tomorrow is Juneteenth in the States, which means I don't have to work tomorrow. And it's Saturday here, and so it looks like I'm going to be going over to my folks' place, and my brother and his wife will be there. So we'll get to spend some time together. And I don't know what time I'm coming home. And I may even take my laptop there and go and hide in one of the bedrooms and do a live. We'll see how things go. Well, it all depends on the timing, when they're going to be when I'm getting picked up or when I'm getting dropped off, that sort of thing. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we will catch you guys at some time